Hi, welcome to Forge and Anvil. I'm Alan Rogers. We're coming to you today from Madison, Georgia, the site of the Southeastern Regional Blacksmithing Conference. It's held here every other year, and blacksmiths from all over the United States gather together to trade lies and to tell stories and to increase their experience and their fellowship. Blacksmithing is about getting together and talking and yakking and learning about the craft, and that's what you'll find here. There are educational facilities where you can sharpen your skills or learn as a beginner. There's a large tool sales area where people lay out their tailgates and sell all sorts of strange tools. There are crafts for the family, and there are fun events all over the place. And there are also some of the best blacksmiths in the world coming here to demonstrate.
Blacksmiths are, without a doubt, the most generous artisans when it comes to sharing techniques and experiences. Bob Becker, Roberta Elliott, Tal Harris, and Bob Patrick are superior blacksmiths that inspire and know what they're talking about. Bob Becker is a trained veterinarian and loves horses, so his route into blacksmithing was as a farrier. In his demonstration, he used several plastic scrolls and a grill he made. Here he is working on a section that has required forge weld.
Now what happens if you didn't get that straight? That's not going to cooperate. You can sit here and play with this little gizmo to get it back straight. Or put it in the vise, whatever you want to do.
Most of the folks in the audience here have some blacksmithing experience, but every one of them was paying close attention trying to glean that one secret or trick that will help them improve.
Let's talk about a nice little tool here. When you're bending this around, this is really nice. It has a swivel on it. This I took out of Jerry Hoffman's series. Very nice set of books that he puts out. And this is one of the tools that I've gotten from his books. But it'll lay flat, swivels, draw right on around there, very helpful. And I got several different sizes, these different widths.
Roberta was another trained farrier that has turned to ornamental ironwork. You'll notice a couple of things that she did differently in her demonstration. One is that she is working with a piece of pipe rather than solid metal stock.
What's happening is, even though I cut it off straight, it's getting a beveled edge on it here as it flares out, and that's nice as just a finished edge, but I'm going to beat it later.
The other big difference is that she used a power hammer to neck the piece of pipe down to the desired shape. Take a close look at this spring-loaded fuller. Rather a handy little gadget when it's called for. Bob Patrick started blacksmithing as a hobby. Now he shares his experience as a full-time blacksmith.
To do fine work, you have to carefully prepare each job and have it set up so you can do everything quickly and accurately. If I have a lot of things to split, I need more than one chisel. If I have a lot of holes to punch, I need more than one punch.
This is useful information for the hobbyist and the professional alike.
I'll put this up against the anvil. I'll bend it like that. I'm going to knock the corner in a little. This will make this round nicely. I'll now carefully spread this out. And I get a nice rounded foot. A hard blow is important for this. A soft blow will not make a rounded foot. The hard blow will drive the metal in the middle out. The metal tends to want to forge evenly in all directions.
This is Tal Harris talking welds.
If this thick area gets to a welding heat, this thin area out here on the end will also be there, but if your pieces are too far out in the fire, you're going to burn the tips of these scarves off before this ever reaches a welding heat. So you'll see sparks, you'll think you're ready, you'll come out, you'll have a welding heat here and here, but nothing hot enough on the corresponding areas to weld to, so it doesn't weld.
Forge welding is one of those skills that looks easier than it is until you've had a chance to practice. Tal makes it look very easy, but then for him, it is.
Because when you lay them and they stick, they're stuck. And after it loses that greasy look, you're not really welding anymore. When you get close to the final shape, you get the heavy scale off so you're not driving it into piece and finish it up.
Not only do you get to see great demonstrations here, but you also get to meet some of the masters of blacksmithing.
Right on there, it's been burned a little bit, and with a file you can spit that up.
Several of the people who have had a hand in this renaissance are Floyd Daniels, Judd Nelson, and the Dean of American Blacksmithing, Francis Whitaker. Floyd, who makes his home here in Madison, Georgia, was instrumental in starting the Southeastern Regional Blacksmith Conference. Among other things, he spoke with us about being there when the Artist Blacksmith Association of North America was founded.
The way Abana got started was all due to one man, Alex Bela. Now, he is the prime mover. Now, there were others that were involved in it, in the actual creation of Abana. But Alex, he was a writer by profession. He was an amateur blacksmith. He was a better writer than he was a blacksmith, but he was still an ardent fan of blacksmithing. And he followed blacksmithing as much as he could, and he knew a lot of the old original blacksmiths around. He knew Judd Nelson, and there was a man named Stump. Stump Brown, I believe it was, so that's anyway, Alex had an idea that he should have a get-together. Now, he had gone up to the University of Southern Illinois, and he had done a demonstration up there for those students there. So he decided he should do something about this. So he got all the blacksmiths that he knew in the United States, which was about around 25, 27, something like that. Well, there was a few more than that because some came that weren't blacksmiths. And he had set up a meeting down at Westville. And you know what Westville is.
Was he from Westville?
No, Westville is what do you call these things? Rebuild it like the old time it were?
Recreation of an old...
Yeah, recreation of one that had all the old houses, the old blacksmith shop. So he had a meeting down there, and we all went down. I wasn't a blacksmith at the time. The way I found out about it in the newspaper, Celestine Sibley. I don't know if you know the type of stuff she writes about, but she wrote an article about that and gave the time and all when he was doing it. So I went down, and they had a nice meeting. And during the meeting, he and Dmitri Garikaris, they got together, and Abana was born in one of those little cabins down there, around a table. They got together and decided to form this group, and Dmitri wrote up some rules and regulations for it. And the next day they came out, that was in one evening. The next day they came out and told us what they had done and wanted to know who all wanted to join. And I think it was $5. 5 or 10, I don't remember, but I think it was $5 that they wanted everybody to do. So there was 27 of us, and I was one of them. They put our $5 in for that, and we were the core of Abana at that time. From that, we were elected officers. Alex Bela, he was first president. Dmitri was first secretary and treasurer. And from there, it was all uphill, or rather I should say downhill, easy going.
Easy going.
Well, not so easy going, but it was a strain to work on it and keep the thing going like that. But I mean, the ball kept rolling. We never did fall back. We just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Judd Nelson was there at the founding of Abana, too. In fact, he had been blacksmithing in the hills of northwest Georgia for many years before Alex Bela sought him out to learn more about the craft.
Back then, and 80% of what you done was on the credit for farmers. Some of them pay it and some of them forget to. You're lucky if you collected half a little bit of what you had there.
It was a hard living.
But anyway, I bought this old shop there in 1935, and married bought it in April and married the 18th of May in 35. And I was furnishing 4 shoes and fitting them on the horse and mule for $1.10.
Furnishing the shoes for $1.10.
65-cent labor for 4 shoes or 2 shoes for 35 cents. And some of them didn't pay. I would have done it cheaper and I wouldn't have lost as much.
Like most blacksmiths, Judd doesn't have much of a sense of humor, but he has seen amazing changes in the craft.
Well, back when I come up in the Depression, if you had the gate, you couldn't have sold it $200 if you had 10,000 in it, because they didn't need it. All the thing I done is something they had to have.
Not many can say they learned blacksmithing from probably America's greatest ornamental blacksmith, Samuel Yellin. But Francis Whitaker can. That and his career-long dedication to teaching traditional techniques are a couple of the reasons Francis is considered the Dean of modern American blacksmithing. Well, at this conference, Francis oversaw the construction of a hanger bracket for a sign that was built to commemorate the Southeast Regional Blacksmith Conference. Jeff Moore and Randy Whitaker, no relation, had the opportunity to work at the forge with Francis, and we spoke to him during a break.
Tell me, when did you get started smithing?
In 1922.
1922. And how'd you start?
The hard way.
Well, there's lots of hard ways. Did you work for a family member or?
No, I had the opportunity to work for Samuel Yellin, the famous early century smith. He had the Federal Reserve Bank job at that time, 200 employees, and as some young smiths tell me, the first time I took a piece of iron out of the fire and beat it with a hammer, I knew that's what I wanted to do.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
What was it like working in Samuel Yellin's shop? I'm sure a lot of people would like to know that.
Very, very educational. He was a master at every branch of the trade. He was on top of every job. Nothing went out of the shop unless he was satisfied with it. He even had his draftsmen take basic blacksmithing, so when they went back to the drawing board, they understood what they were drawing. And his drawings were magnificent. He would work with a smith, say, was having a problem. If the smith couldn't master it, after Yellin showed him, he would give it to someone else. He very seldom fired anyone. You could fire people in those days, but it wasn't done very much. You usually shifted them to a job with 200 men. And I worked with people from half a dozen countries, from Spain, Poland, Virgin Islands, a Negro blacksmith with an Oxford accent that you wouldn't believe.
Really?
Italians, and I worked around as a blacksmith helper for part of the year. Then I got a job making some of the rosettes for the bank. Made 400 rosettes, all repoussé with little twisted tails on them.
What's your take on the resurgence of it? I mean, what accounts for the fact that there are more people doing it now?
I think people got tired of the plastic world, stuff that you get at the hardware store that falls apart before you really get to use it. And it reminds me, I was interviewed in Aspen, and the tripod that the camera was sitting on was taped together at the base, and the same question was asked, and I said, if I had made that tripod, you wouldn't have to tape it. Every blacksmith I know who is doing good work is busy.
It's the same here.
And there's also another reason. One of the things that is given to mentally disturbed people is something to do with their hands. And The old theme, idle hands make mischief, is quite true. And there's a great satisfaction in working with your hands. That's one reason we have the opposed thumb, which nobody else has. So we can hold tools, or hold paintbrushes, or hold pencils.
Why should people learn traditional blacksmithing techniques and use it in their business? Why do you feel that?
That's a question that is a real problem, and so many people have not been exposed to traditional work. I have found that my clients appreciate the style of work I do. That's why I haven't had to quote a price for 30 or 40 years. It's imitation. One of the best examples I know, I was working with someone on developing a beginning blacksmithing technique, and it was going along in various stages. And he sent me another chapter, and he said the use of arc welding and gas welding is permitted as long as it resembles traditional work. Which means that you're cheating. You're making it, you're faking. You don't have the talent to do it the traditional way, so you fall back on the modern technique. Modern work is fine. Albert Paley is a perfect example. His collars are arc welded, built up with arc weld and ground and sandblasted. A lot of his work is finished that way. He makes no pretense of doing traditional work. There was a man half a century ago, Edgar Brandt in France, who did some beautiful work. But he made no pretense. This is a new style. I'm using the new techniques. I'm not pretending that it's traditional work.
Francis, Judd, and Floyd have seen blacksmithing nearly vanish. They now see a much brighter future ahead.
It's going to continue to grow as more people realize the value of working with their hands, the satisfaction they get, and the things that they create.
All I see for the blacksmithing now, all I see for that is growth.
There's all sorts of educational opportunities at one of these conferences, whether you're a beginner, intermediate, or advanced.
I often get asked, what's the best way to learn blacksmithing? Well, we've tried to show you the basics in the Forge and Anvil project segments. Joining a class at a conference like this is a nice introduction.
You can, actually, if you straighten it back out, you can probably save that by drawing it out again, and it'll erase all your mistakes, because when you form it, all those tips will disappear. Okay. So straighten it back out and draw it back to square and start drawing it out just a little bit. It won't take much.
Everything you need is provided, and everyone can get involved. At this conference, the Appalachia Area Abana chapter is supplying the instructors, and the multi-station forge was built by the Blacksmiths Association of Missouri. Adults and youngsters get a chance to heat some iron, beat on it, and make something like a poker or a shovel with their own hands. We found that even some of the youngest smiths taking this class weren't complete novices.
This is my first knife, and I started out with a piece of cable about that long, and I just welded the two ends together, and then I just flattened this part out into about that shape, and it took me 3 months to file it down and get the clip and everything. And this is a rising point knife.
Well, there's lots of blacksmithing going on outside. Inside, there are classes for folks who want to try other crafts. One group is learning to weave a birdhouse out of wicker.
You want to snip it off somewhere in the bag. Oh, this will pack it down.
Well, that one's pretty good.
Okay, how about over here? Okay. And right here, remember, we've got a post in the middle of the door. Water again, and you're ready to go.
Thank you, ma'am.
You're welcome.
Another group is tablet weaving.
One whole thing.
I gotta go 5?
No, yeah, 5, 6, 7, 8.
These belts are really beautiful. Yet another group learned broom making. You can make a handle in class one day and make the broom part the next. It's about craftsmanship, about learning the skills and techniques to create something special. Sometimes it means very special, like the ironwork on exhibit.
We were lucky enough to catch up with Floyd Daniels and Stan Strickland, and they took us around the tailgate area to show us some really unusual tools. Mostly looks like we got a lot of rust here. There's all sorts of stuff in here. What is this right? This old fire pot, isn't it?
Yes, that's an old fire pot, well used. It's supposed to be what they call a clinker ball, a clinker breaker right in there.
Alan, this is a swag block. This is used by blacksmiths to form different shapes with the iron. You see different holes in there, the different size of the scallops and so forth for hammering iron in and forming the pieces that are needed.
Is there a special reason why blacksmiths use post vices instead of, say, machinist vices, or why do they work?
Yes, there is a reason for using the post vise. The post vise with the leg on the back, when metal is hammered on the top of the vise, transmits the blow down the leg and takes the strain off of the vise itself.
And this right here, this drill looks like a post drill. Floyd, could you tell us about that?
Yes. Now this is fixed up with where you can hook up an electric motor to that with a V-belt. And it turns and bores the hole, and you feed it with this.
Oh, okay.
You feed that to advance your drill.
There are many types of anvils. This is what is called the London pattern, and it's typically used by most blacksmiths. There are farrier's anvils that have clip forms and so forth on them. Normally the weight that a blacksmith would like to use is around 200 pounds. But they go in weights from 50 pounds up to 1,000 pounds.
Yeah. And this is what we now use a squirrel cage for, I guess, a hand crank blower. Here we got some sort of unusual things. This is looks like a form for a screw or a nail, or what is this?
Those were swedges to make bolts.
This is a kind of unusual looking contraption. What exactly is this? Floyd, can you tell us what this is?
Yes, that was what they call a tire roller.
Is this a different kind? What kind of vise is this? It's not exactly a post vise.
This is a wagon tongue vise. In fact, there's a portion of the old wagon tongue still left in here. During the time in which they were crossing the country and wagons were very necessary to move people around, you still had to have the portable blacksmith shop to be able to do the work.
Yeah, those are pretty nice animals.
What is this here? What's that horn sticking out there?
I've heard those animals described in lots of different ways. I'm really not satisfied myself with what. Some of them call them plow anvils. Some of them say they are knife maker's anvils, and lots of people got different opinions. So personally, I don't know exactly what it's for.
Well, we appreciate y'all showing us all this stuff and telling us about it. We'd never know otherwise.
You know anything more you want to tell them about that?
No, enjoyed it. Thank you, Alan.
Let me tell you, if you got a little time, I'll tell you something more about these anvils.
To obtain your personal copy of Alan Rogers' Forge and Anvil companion book, including project details and expanded videotapes of Forge and Anvil projects, send $15 for the book, $35 for tapes, or $39.95 for both. Call 1-800-359-4040 for credit card orders. Make checks payable to the University of Georgia and send them to Forge and Anvil, University of Georgia, Georgia Center, Athens, Georgia, 30602-3603.
It's not all business here at one of these conferences. Whenever you get a bunch of blacksmiths together, they have a lot of fun. And one of the things they do is shoot an anvil straight up into the sky.
Now, these anvils belong to Tim Ryan out of Gordonsville, Tennessee. He has preset these to be shot. Tim asked me as a personal favor, David, would you fire the anvil for me? So I said, well, you set it up, I light the fuse, try to entertain the crowd a little bit, and we'll watch it go about 100 to 125 feet straight up. And a lot of people ask, where's it going to come down at? Folks, there ain't much wind drift with a 100-pound anvil, okay? Straight right back where it left from. Fire in the hole.
This is where our anvil ended up, and this is where we have to end this show. Join us next time on Forge and Anvil.